This record-breaking hurricane season is not over yet, as we are looking at the Gulf and the Caribbean picking up in action. We have had 23 total storms, 8 hurricanes, 2 of them being major. How far into this Greek alphabet are we going to go? And welcome back, everybody. October 1st, we made it. It is the 1st of October, 30 days until Halloween, one of my favorite holidays in the world. It is 2:02 p.m. in the East Coast, and we are tracking the Gulf and the Caribbean as we continue to cover the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. And I'm sure many of you enjoyed that little break we had in the Atlantic with that lesser activity than we've had for most of the season, but that is now over. We are used to this October uptick in the average hurricane season, let alone one as busy as this, so we expected these storms to show up in this time of year, this part of hurricane season. Many, if not all, our storms form within the Caribbean, the South Caribbean, the Mid-Caribbean, as you can see right here with our disturbance. 70% chance of cyclone formation over the next 5 days, 40% over 48 hours. And then disturbance number 2 that popped up recently, 20% chance of cyclone formation over the next 5 days. And as of right now, it's at that 0% chance for the next 2 days, 48 hours, so it needs some time to develop. So our main concern right now is obviously our disturbance number 1 with the 70% chance. And now, before I show you the Canadian model, the European model, the GFS model, and our Navy model, first I want to remind everybody exactly why we're using the Greek alphabet. We are given 21 names at the beginning of each hurricane season in the Atlantic Ocean, and this year we have gone through all those names, and now we are in the Greek alphabet. We have already used alpha and beta. We are now awaiting gamma, which could very well be forming in the Gulf within this week. All right, and now we're going to look at our charts and see the differences between them and what to expect, what not to expect. We are about a week out before this storm is going to be anything significant, so we have a lot of time in between there, but it's definitely worth talking about. First, we're going to take a look at the Canadian model. So I have it set up for October 1st, and as we move forward across the days, we are now into the 2nd and 3rd. You're going to see the buildup of the low pressure system right here, directly lined up with this disturbance, 70% chance. We've done this before, and you're going to see it pop up, and the Canadian model actually shows this forming in the Atlantic Ocean rather than the Pacific. There's some teeter-tottering going over whether or not this storm is going to form. The low pressure is going to be in the Pacific Ocean or if it's going to be in the Atlantic. The Canadian model showing the Atlantic, and then a move towards the water gap in Cancun, Mexico by the 8th, and that is 7 days from now, so we could be seeing this tropical storm give or take some of that distance within the 7 days. And then following the rest of the Canadian version, we are looking at a significant storm in the Gulf by the 10th, maybe a little sooner than that. Again, that is not a prediction, that is just the data we have on hand right now. The Gulf is certainly not done with this hurricane season. We are now looking at the GFS version of the model charts, and we are going to see a little bit of a difference. But the main difference and most important factor I want you to pay attention to is what's going on above the storm in the U.S., because we have a high pressure system moving across the U.S. and Canada that is directly going to affect whether or not this storm actually goes into the Gulf or if it gets pushed into an area like Cancun, Mexico, or the Gulf area of Mexico back into the Pacific Ocean. So while we're looking at the GFS version, we're going to notice a little bit of a different path in the Canadian model. We can see the storm right here at 1,006 millibars by the 4th. It doesn't really take that trajectory into the Gulf, and this is why. You're going to see above here these 2 high pressure systems at the same time moving across the top of the U.S. And as we move across, one of those systems lingers on, and the kind of momentum it puts on this storm keeps it down in the South Gulf, almost over the landmass in Cancun. Now, really quick to show you the difference again, I'm back at the Canadian model. We'll back it up a little bit. Now watch up here in the U.S. as we move towards that time period. You see the high pressure far to the west with a low pressure up in the northeast, and by the time the storm gets into the Gulf, that high pressure is actually surrounded by 2 low pressures, a much weaker high pressure to then affect this storm. That's why you're seeing it shoot up to the north according to the Canadian model, and then eventually hitting the Panhandle, it looks like, or Alabama. So once again, here is the GFS, and we can see that the high pressure is much more prominent in the GFS version, and that is why we're seeing the storm being pushed down into the South Gulf region after hitting that Cancun, Mexico area and then bending down. Also follows this path, that cone-looking path right there with the horseshoe shape. Finally, I will show you the Navy model, which is basically a in-between of both of those. So we had the GFS bringing the storm curling up around Cancun, Mexico, staying in the South Gulf. And then we had the Canadian model bringing this up into, again, possibly hitting the Panhandle of Florida or Alabama, any of those states within the Gulf. And now take a look at what the Navy model has for us. And you're going to see this storm want to go right in between, almost a border of Mexico and Texas, kind of in between the Canadian and the GFS. So you could see 3 different models, 3 different ideas within a storm that is about a week away. So I'll move it forward. And we could see we kind of clipped that area of Cancun, Mexico Mexico. We don't shoot the water gap, so that could cause some weakening. But then we see the storm very compact, a lot of isobars there kind of wiggling around in this area of the Gulf, and then we finally see a western movement towards Mexico. Now, a lot of that can change. I'll back it up, and again, this is all based on whether or not we're going to see this high pressure stay or not. I am also very aware that that is a lot of information to take in at once, so if you need to go back and re-listen to the video, please do so to keep yourself updated, and I will be updating on this throughout the week, obviously, as this new peak is showing up. But just to clarify what we just watched, we have three different models, the CMC, the European, and the GFS, all three basically taking a different part of the Gulf, but the common denominator is that the Gulf is seeing some action right now. And with the 2 months we still have in the official time frame of the hurricane season, there's a lot to go. I want to thank you all for checking out the channel and listening to my videos. If you have not yet, please like, share, and subscribe. Every little bit helps the channel, and I appreciate putting this content out to you on a daily basis. And I hope each and every one of you are having a good day / evening / morning, wherever you may live. Shout out to Canada, especially Ontario. I will talk to you all very soon. Be safe. Bye-bye.